I watched that game, but I watched it tired. Talking about the Sixers first, so I
Hmm.
don't remember everything specifically. Obviously, know they had a win, and I watched the good part of it, just like the first half, or the first quarter, where they had 37 points and it was like 37-20. Once it hit halftime, that's when I started getting tired, and I was like half-ass watching it. Paul George got 11 points coming back. Um, Still has yet to really show anything coming off of injury.
No, he had that one good game that we went to, and other than that, he has been very underwhelming.
Yeah. And he just said on this podcast the quote that I keep seeing on social media that, like, oh, we're about to turn the season around once I get back, and, whatever he's talking about. But another underwhelming performance by him.
Yeah, he really needs to get it together because as of right now, he is playing some Tobias Harris ass basketball.
Right. That's what I was saying in that
Uh,
last video.
yeah, Tobias Harris could have shot 4 for 12 last night,
That's
or whatever
ridiculous.
he ended up at. I think he ended up at 4 for 12.
Like when I was doing the videos, when I was doing them solo and I was just reviewing whatever type game and just going on NBA.com and just watching the low lights, I guess you could say, of just all his shot attempts and all his misses and stuff like that. It's just like I remember one specific one. I can't tell you what time it was at, but he like had the ball. He was bringing the ball up, and no lie, he had the ball for the whole entire possession. But for like 10 to 15 seconds, he's doing dribble moves. He drives. He pulls it back out because they cut him off from driving fully. Then he hits another dribble move, whatever, and then he does like a sidestep 3-pointer, just misses it. It's just like 15 seconds off the clock. Didn't even try to move the ball, but just like those types of things. It's like I understand it's like you're up, you're trying to get back into the swing of things, but I'm pretty sure that was early in the game. It's like I said, I was watching that earlier, where I was watching it early in the first and second quarter. So once that happened, I'm just like, I get it, but what are you doing?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a lot of flow, even all season, not just with Paul George. There doesn't seem to be a lot of flow with the offense.
Yeah,
It seems a lot of Maxi bringing the ball up the court, dribble moves, contested three, or get to the rim. If he can't find a lane, kick it to McCain. McCain dribble moves, try to get to the rim. The ball movement on the team has not been there at all.
no, it's just been 5 out offense. We're gonna drive and kick, and we don't really have shooters on the corner, so we're just gonna keep driving and kicking until we see McCain, Maxi, or Paul George if he's in.
Hmm.
And that's really what it's been coming down to. I understand a lot of their offenses run through Joel, but surely you should be able to pick some other stuff out. I guess it's kind of hard too when, uh, like if a lot of their game is pick and roll and Andre Drummond's not in, and then you're trying to run it with Yabusele. Yabusele is has been performing in that area, but it's Yabusele is a lot different from running off a Joel Embiid pick and roll. So
Yeah, Joel Embiid, there's a threat of the guy setting the pick to create some offense too. Unless Yabusele is getting completely left alone on like a pick and pop at the three, he's not rolling to the rim and getting a tough bucket. That's not his game.
right, right, and he has been performing in that area of when he does do pick and rolls, like he'll be open on that wing just because they don't want to pick him up for whatever reason. But in these last few games, he's been hitting like at least 2 or 3 3-pointers a game, and like that
Yeah,
might
he's
be
been
his all
big.
points, but still,
No, he's been a big surprise for me. I didn't expect him to have this much impact on the team. I was expecting him to be a towards the end of the bench, one of those guys Nick Nurse likes to play one game and then doesn't play the next game and then gets 25 minutes and then gets 5 minutes.
right?
But he's been consistently one of the first guys off the bench.
Yeah,
And some of that's to do with Embiid's injury, but now with Drummond being hurt too, even if Embiid does come back, he's still going to have a ton of minutes.
yeah. That's what I was gonna point out. Just because Drummond got hurt early in the first quarter last night, depending on obviously how long that is gonna put him out for, but he should be in the rotation like consistently. I would assume it's your Ricky Councils and KJ Martin and Reggie Jackson, those types of guys that are gonna be like every once in a while you see, but just big contributions from both of them as well. KJ Martin and Ricky Council. I think they both had like 17 and 19 points. So finally a game where you can see some production from them because they're usually like 5, maybe 6, 7 points a game type of players.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, yeah.
getting up in the teens, close to the 20s, definitely put us over.
Yeah, no, they were a big part of the win because for a game we were up 20 the whole time. There really wasn't like a good vibe. Like I wasn't watching it like, damn, we're playing some beautiful basketball out here. It seemed more like we're playing the Detroit Pistons without Cade Cunningham,
Right.
and a couple of the role players are having nights they're not usually going to have.
Right.
But there was nothing about that game that was just like, oh man, look, this offense looks smooth, and like Maxey had a big second half, but I don't know. It was not it wasn't a Paul George, we're about to turn this season around,
right,
type of win where I was just like, oh, here's the team. But again, it's hard to see that when we still have yet to see Maxey, George, and Embiid. Have they played in a game together yet? Maybe one.
They played, I think, 2 games together. I think they played against the Cavs and maybe like the Magic or somebody. I don't remember.
Okay.
Or one. I don't know. But yeah, it's. I think what really put them over was I think they had 6 3-pointers in the beginning of the first quarter, which put them up so big, and then they just rode off that confidence for the rest of the game. Obviously without Cade Cunningham, but that confidence, like I think Kelly Oubre hit like 2 or 3 3-pointers in the first quarter. So just like coming out the gate and doing that and giving them that bit of confidence was big. But also, yes, they were playing the Detroit Pistons. I'm sure if they did that against like the Bucks or the Cavs and they had that good of a first quarter, it would have slowly fallen off like it usually does. But
yeah, I don't know. Got some big games from role players. I like Ricky Council when he's out there as just a scoring spark. You know, he doesn't do a ton defensively, and he's not really a sit in the corner and shoot threes kind of guy. But if you need a spark, you need a guy to come in and get you a bucket when you're struggling. Council seems to do a good job of. He scores in bunches.
mm-hmm.
You know, he'll get 5 or 6 points or 5, 6, 7 points really quickly.
Yeah.
And then, and you need guys like that sometimes when the offense is struggling. Like put Council in there, see if he'll hit a 3, and then make a contested layup, hit another 3, and spark the team's offense back up.
Yeah, I definitely like Ricky Council more than KJ Martin coming onto the floor, just because of the ability to shoot 3-pointers. Like KJ Martin is going to sit in the corner every single time, and if he gets the ball in the corner, best believe he's never going to shoot that shot, regardless of how open he is. You get a Ricky Council out there, he might fire it up, but he's probably going to drive. But I just like you're just like putting yourself in the box and like I'm not going to contest you. And I've seen that a lot on the opposite side of the defense for the Sixers. It's just like we're closing out on guys that are not going to shoot 3-pointers. But because of how the NBA is right now, and to just listen to a lot of like what's his name, Gilbert Arenas podcast, the amount of 3-pointers that the NBA is shooting, I understand Nick Nurse, if that's his call of like we're contesting every single shot on every single person, I can understand why he would say that. But it's like, what game did I just go to? I went to the Clippers game, and Derrick Jones Jr. sitting in the corner, and KJ Martin is sprinting as fast as he can to the corner trying to contest him and jumps on his pump fake, and Derrick Jones Jr. just pump fakes, goes by, and then gets a layup. But it's like, why are we that stressed to go out on Derrick Jones Jr. to shoot a 3-pointer that 99 out of 100 times he's going to miss?
Yeah, right. I'm letting him throw that thing up.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's definitely a coaching thing because people in their right mind read the scouting report on who can shoot, and just playing with these guys, who can shoot and who can't. So
yeah, you got to be more prepared than that, because even reverse, if Derek White Jr. went screaming out to the line for a KJ Martin 3 and jumped, you'd be like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
and people are doing that, and he's not shooting them, but it's just like it's the possibility of somebody going to fire something up because you think he's not going to, but
right, because like you said, every team's taking 100 threes a game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I was literally just listening to something right after the gym. I think the Warriors are averaging, and I might be wrong with the number, but I think it's like the number that's in my head is 45 3-pointers or 52 3-pointers that they put up last night, and they scored like 110 points or something like that.
Hmm.
But I don't know. That's just ridiculous. But got got a hopefully a good game against the Hornets coming up. Playing a Lamelo-less Hornets. See how that plays out, and if Paul George is gonna have a good game or not. He should, but who knows?
Yeah. See if we can finally get two in a row. Actually, start building some momentum. They can't keep winning a game and then losing three and then winning a game. Obviously, besides the obvious fact that they won't have a record good enough to get in the playoffs, they need to build some type of momentum
Right.
that involves winning a couple games in a row, 4 out of 5, something like that. Like they got to show themselves something, because right now they look like a team that, I don't want to say they don't believe, but they look like a team just going through the motions.
Yeah, definitely.
Just with all these injuries and stuff. Like I need them to play like a team where there's supposed to be some expectation. They just look like they look like the Hornets that are just out there hooping because, they're like, well, we're probably not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like a lot of people come to that understanding of like, damn, we lost like 15 games and we only won a few. Like, we might as well just go play and like, if you have a good night, feed the hot hand. If not, try and help the best you can and do more on defense. But I don't know. I don't know what the game plan is, and I would love to hear what Nick Nurse is telling them to do, and then what they're actually showing us they're doing. Because
I know.
I can't agree with Nick Nurse is just telling them to go out there and play.
No, there's no way.
So, but it just looks like they're going out there and just playing. So,
Yeah.
I would love to hear what he has to say about what they're doing.
Yeah. I'd like to see something, but with the things he has at his disposal right now, you know, with all the injuries to the stars, you're asking role players to do a lot, and there's a reason they're role players. But with these constant injuries, you're expecting more from people you shouldn't be expecting more. Like a lot of people are down about Caleb Martin, and again, Caleb Martin was brought in to be a role player. He never did anything in Miami that
Hmm.
made you think like, oh, he just needs to be on a different team, and then he's going to become like a Derek White.
Right.
Like, yeah, Caleb Martin is what he is, and if everybody's healthy and he's just playing his role that he was brought here to do, it looks a lot better. But right now, just expecting a lot out of guys you shouldn't be expecting a lot out of.
Right. It's really we're just waiting around at this point. We're just waiting for Joel to come back. And we're waiting for Paul George to have like a 30-point game to boost his confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But well, it's always nice to see a win. But we'll keep reality in our head with these next games that come up. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose to the Hornets without LaMelo Ball. Is what I'm saying. But
No, no, I'm not surprised. We can lose to anybody.
yeah. Well, I mean, realistically, actually, now that if you think about it, when they played the Hornets the first time is when LaMelo hit that crazy shot in the corner to go to OT, and it was a close game. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe without LaMelo Ball and Tyrese Maxey and Paul George, it could be a win. But I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if we did lose and Brandon Miller just had like a really good game.
Yeah. Now I'll take it a step further. With all the things you said, we should win,
Hmm.
which is why it'll probably be a game where we're down 3 with 4 minutes to go.
Right, right, right.
So,
Yeah.
that's our Sixers, baby.
Well, moving on from the Sixers, because we have not talked about the Eagles since probably like their second loss or something like that. We haven't talked about the Eagles in a good amount of time, but what are you expecting from today's game? Obviously, it's I don't think you ever said that you were a Ravens fan, but it's a big game between the Eagles and the Ravens today. What do you expect out of both teams?
I am. If I was an outsider looking in on this game, I would probably bet the Eagles to win this game.
Hmm.
Um, Not in a landslide or anything like that, but the Eagles have shown they might be the most complete team in football.
Hmm.
Um, I like to see them go up against one of the top teams in the NFL, and I guess technically the Ravens are in that conversation. But with the Ravens' defense as bad as it is, they are they are the poster child for could lose to anyone and could beat anyone in the NFL, because the defense is so bad it can make any NFL offense look great.
Hmm.
And the Ravens offense is so good, it can go out there and put up numbers against um, the best of defenses.
Right.
With that being said, I think the combination of the Eagles having a good defense So, I don't expect them. It's not like when the Ravens play the Bengals and we expect to score 35, 40 points.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you score that against the Eagles. And I can realistically see the Ravens defense giving up 35 to 40 points to the Eagles offense, especially the way it's been rolling.
Yeah.
So I would bet the Eagles to win this game. I think it'll be a close game,
Mm-hmm.
but I think this one probably goes to the Eagles.
So going back to their losses, how does that Eagles team relate to the Eagles that have been winning their last few games?
It doesn't. It looks like a completely different team.
Right.
Um, Especially when AJ Brown is out there, and Devontae Smith. When they're out there, the offense just looks different. Jalen Hurts has his weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon Barkley obviously is a huge weapon, but you aren't able to crowd the box and try to limit Saquon, which even with crowding the box has been very difficult and hasn't really happened. But now you can't. You have two wide receivers you cannot leave cornerbacks on islands with, and it opens everything up for Saquon. And
Mm-hmm.
if you do push your safeties up to try to stop Saquon a bit, then, like I said, you have A.J. Brown on the outside, one of the best wide receivers in football,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just going to kill you. And if he doesn't kill you, Devontae Smith is somewhere open and he'll kill you.
So was it
Uh,
really just Devontae Smith and AJ Brown were hurt early, and that's why we weren't winning games?
I think that was what was slowing the offense down, and the defense wasn't right. They have tweaked some things in that secondary.
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell really coming out as probably the one on that team now. That Darius Slay. Darius Slay's been getting targeted by teams a bit this year.
Mm-hmm.
Quinyon stepping up. Cooper DeJean playing more snaps. Has just really, like I said, they tweaked a couple things in that secondary, and it has made a huge difference.
Yeah.
They've gone from a team that wasn't very good against the pass to damn near one of the best teams in the NFL against the pass. They weren't getting home either early in the season. They weren't getting sacks through the first couple of weeks, but now they're back. The pressure's back. They're getting to the quarterback. Jalen Carter's a monster in the middle of that defensive line, and it's all coming together at the right time for them. They're the hottest team in football. You can make a case they're probably the best team in football. I'd probably still give the edge to the Lions
Mm-hmm.
in the NFC, because obviously you got the Chiefs,
Yeah.
Bills, Ravens in the AFC. But in the NFC, I think it's the Lions, Eagles, and then I'm trying to think who the third best team in the NFC would be. I'm probably missing somebody, maybe the Vikings, but I don't see the Vikings on the level of the Lions and Eagles. Although when the Lions and Vikings played, it was a very close game, but that's also a division game. Those are always close.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Packers looked really good against the Dolphins, but like I said, I just don't put the Packers and the Vikings on the same level as I put the Lions and Eagles.
Hmm. So, out of the conferences, then, who is most likely to make it out of both to go to the Super Bowl this year? Just from where it's standing right now. Not like statistically wise, just like what you've seen already.
I think NFC it'll be Eagles or Lions,
Mm-hmm.
and then until I see a team step up and beat the Chiefs, I can't say that the Chiefs won't be the team out of the AFC.
Right.
It's almost inevitable at this point, the way they sneak games out of their ass and then the playoffs start and the same thing happens. I'm sure Mahomes has been a little up and down this year. I'm sure the playoffs hit and he'll turn it around, and Travis Kelce, who's been invisible for many weeks this season, all of a sudden he'll be out there catching 7 passes for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Right.
The Chiefs are inevitable. They remind me of the Patriots. It's like, oh, we're hyping up this team in the AFC because they look really good. They're hot all year, and then, but you ran into Tom Brady in the playoffs. Sorry.
Right. Right.
Time for vacation.
So what puts you say in the NFC it's either the Eagles or the Lions, but what's gonna put them above the other? Like, what can you see from the Eagles to put them above the Lions? And then the same question for the Lions, what can they do to be like 100%? Yeah.
The Lions have a very creative offense. They call a lot of good plays, and they can go weapon for weapon with a team like the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
You got Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams over the top. You have the best 1-2 running back punch in football. Eagles probably have the best running back in football in Saquon, but the Lions have the best 1-2 in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. I don't think any other team can field 2 running backs that good.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense is much improved. My problem with the Lions last year is their defense was a little shaky. They get into a lot of shootouts. That's not happening this year. They are blowing teams out.
Right.
And they have 18 players on injured reserve, which is insane to have 18 players on injured reserve and only have one loss. With the Eagles, I would say the Eagles probably have the better defense. So they could probably slow the Lions down a bit better than like the teams they've been dominating recently. Like the Jaguars' defense is atrocious. That first half against the Bears stepped up in the second half, but that first half of the Bears game, the Bears just looked awful. The Lions were doing whatever they wanted to for those first couple drives. And I think the Eagles have the offense to match the Lions. Like I said, I think both of those teams can go weapon for weapon with each other. They're two of the most talented teams on offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
And they're both well coached. I like Dan Campbell. I think Sirianni's a good coach. It's tough to coach in Philadelphia. You know, them first 3 weeks, everybody wanted Sirianni fired. They wanted him fired at the end of last season, and then the season has turned around, and I have not heard a fire Nick Sirianni in over a month.
You think if the Eagles go to the Super Bowl and they lose again, they'll fire Nick Sirianni?
No, I don't. No, I don't think.
Do you think they won't fire him, or do you think they shouldn't fire him?
Both. I don't think you should ever fire a coach that just got you to the Super Bowl. Unless, like, I don't know. I can't see it. Unless it's one of them scenarios like in the 90s, the Bills went to, I think it might have been 4 straight. It was at least 3 straight Super Bowls and lost all of them. Then maybe I can understand it. But no, you don't fire coaches that get you to the Super Bowl.
He went 1 time, right? Or 2 times?
No, yeah, he won his first season as coach.
Yeah.
This is his 3rd year.
Well, good luck to the Eagles. Good luck to the Ravens. Should be a good game.
Quick fire on the other Philly teams. The Phillies haven't done much this offseason yet. They've tendered a couple guys and brought some guys back that were already on the team. It's looking more likely that Jeff Hoffman might be leaving. I would like them to find a way to re-sign him, but he's also hinting at maybe wanting to be a starter and not a bullpen pitcher. So, and obviously you get paid a lot more money being a starting pitcher, so I don't blame him for wanting to do that.
Didn't we not like Jeff Hoffman?
No, we like Jeff Hoffman. He's a very good relief pitcher. He just kind of melted in the playoffs last year, but so did the rest of the team. So I'm not going to single him out.
I just remember a lot of us at least were wanting.
Yeah, he wasn't very good down the stretch of the season, and he completely blew up in the postseason. But if we're getting rid of everyone who blew up in the postseason, we're going to have a completely new baseball team next year.
Right.
So, no, I'd like to see them get him back, but that's about all the Phillies have done this offseason. And the Flyers are on fire. They're playing great hockey. Mitch Cobb has 3 overtime winners this year, and he is looking like he is everything he was hyped up to be.
That's the he's a rookie, or
he's a 19-year-old Russian kid.
That's crazy.
They drafted him 2 years ago, and he came out a year. There was like a phenom in the NFL draft named Connor Bedard, and he was the hands down. Like, you didn't even, like, whoever got the number 1 pick, you could have just given them Connor Bedard before the draft even started. It was written in stone that he was going first.
Right.
But everybody said Mitch Cobb was probably the best player with him in the draft. They said they were probably equal in terms of skill and potential, but he fell to 7 to the Flyers because he was under contract in Russia. So there were thoughts that he might not be able to come over here for up to 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So a team like the Flyers, who absolutely stunk, were like, whatever, we'll wait. And they ended up only having to wait about 2 years, and they bought him out of his contract with the Russian team. So, yeah, so he is 19 years old, and he looks like he is going to be a superstar in the NHL.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nice. It's the first time the Flyers have had a bona fide superstar in quite some time.
Yeah. Got to tap in. Talk to y'all.